All right, it is day 10, and as promised yesterday, we're going to be talking about negotiations. So, this negotiation had 6 people on it, 2 sellers, 4 buyers, and we were buying up a company. I was one of the buyers, and what was interesting is the first thing that happened is the sellers took us off one at a time to go talk with them and discuss, hey, what are we looking for? What are we trying to pull out from the deal? And it was really funny because I thought it was kind of a silly move because I was able to talk with everyone else and all the other buyers about what we valued out of it. And so as my part, I was kind of buying out a competitor. I quickly realized, oh, it would be really good if we could just split everything up and then I could take more market share away with me. And it kind of went up until a closed deal, and then the another person bought, and we had discussed, hey, they would sell off some of the assets to me. So I completed all my objectives where I was trying to break up the company, grab value and market share that way, and then I really didn't have to spend that much money. Came out with a lot of good stuff, I think, that wasn't really recorded in how the points were done with it. So unfortunately, it's not recorded that way, but I feel very good about kind of where we ended up. When I was bringing this up and discussing with the sellers how I thought it was a little interesting that they chose to put us in a room together and that we were talking, I found out he was actually trying to set up something similar to a TV show, an episode of Suits, where they were trying to get negotiators. They're sitting in a room together and they were talking about where they're coming from and what they're looking at, and being told then that, hey, you are bidding against these other 2 people and then face us off against each other in kind of a bidding war. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time for that. And that might have worked out really well. He would probably have been able to grab some additional value out of the entire thing. But again, part of the constraint of everything. So it was, again, negotiations have been extremely fun in this course, where I'm really learning kind of all these different things about how to grab more of the pie, how to create more value, and kind of some of these first mover advantages and things kind of just all added up together. It's one of my favorite things. In authentic leadership development, we discussed 3 different things. I think the quickest one to realize is if you look across the board at your strengths and your weaknesses, that there is something we were calling the fatal flaw. So unless your weakness is something that you really can't get any farther without, you can't be good at everything, you can't work on everything, you only have so much time, only really work on your fatal flaws for your weaknesses. Otherwise, spend more of your time in your strengths. Try to be better at these different things, and it will kind of help with some of these synergies of being, really excellent in what you do. All those other things, you should be finding a complement, someone else or something else to compensate that, or you kind of use that as the judo weakness, turn a weakness into a strength type of thing. The other thing we discussed was your FU price. So how much do you need to make so that you could start doing exactly what you want to do? So for me, I think a lot of it is where I'm sitting right now. I am able to do a lot of the things I really want to do, and maybe I should get some more time somewhere, and I'm not sure where to get it. But otherwise, a lot of the hobbies that I'm working on, whether I'm working on electronics and PCB boards or deep learning, or spending time with my family, which I think is a really good balance on everything, or I am really enjoying my work, these things all kind of add up. I'm very happy with kind of how those are. So my FU money, if you will, is pretty much just for almost an insurance policy. So maybe I just need to go kind of add some more insurance in my name. And I think at the end of the day, that helped me kind of figure that out. And that feeds right into the discussion of a sweet spot. So if you have kind of a Venn diagram of 3 different things, something you're naturally good at. So I would say I'm naturally fairly good at computers and technology. Then do people actually value that aspect? And I'd say yes, people do value computers and technology. So luckily those 2 overlap. And then finally, do I really enjoy it? And so I think if anyone knows me, I will go on and on and on about new technologies and learning new technologies and all these different things. And you kind of see where that overlap is between what you're naturally good at, what people are willing to pay you for, or others value that you are doing, and then your passion into it. And try to overlap those as much as possible. And so in this regard, I feel very fortunate because I feel that I'm naturally fairly good at computers. A lot of that stuff comes pretty easy to me. And the hard work and curiosity that is required in it is kind of just built into who I am. And then people really do need help with technology and computers, and they're willing to pay for that. So it's very fortunate that those line up very well. And finally, I really enjoy talking about these things. I enjoy learning the new technologies and everything. And you can kind of see that passion for me to learn, explore, and solve problems with technology. And so for myself, you see that there's a sweet spot there that I am currently in. And I think part of the way to move ahead is trying to expand that sweet spot out, making that overlap more and more as I can find it. I feel this is a great mechanism for if you're in a tough situation, if you're trying to figure out your purpose, or if you're slightly misaligned, a way to look at different attributes to see what needs to shift around to kind of enlarge this nice sweet spot. And I think that's helpful to have that framework in place. That's all I have for today. Have a great night.